Karibu tena kwenye ulimwengu wa siasa, mtazamaji wangu. Rigathi Gachagua ana ujumbe hapa kwa mwenyekiti wa tume ambayo inasimamia masuala ya uchaguzi, Mr. Erastus Edung Ethekon. Barua inaanza hapa kwamba Mr. Chairman, I write to address you in my capacity as a leader in this country and in my civic duty as a responsible citizen. Take note that an election is more about the process than the outcome. Be further advised that the Kenya's electoral violence in 2007-2008 was a precursor of the process more than the outcome. As you are aware, and historically so, your IEBC and predecessor commissions have been riddled in image and trust issues with Kenyans. Your commission is on a record high on low trust and image. From the outset, Kenyans hold the view that your commission and yourself are an appanage and a part of Mr. William Ruto. You openly biased, and so do you serve his political playbook. Yani Rigijia naamini kwa asilimia za juu kabisa kwamba huyu Ethekon, huyu chairman wa IEBC, atakuwa anafanya anachoambiwa na William Ruto. Sasa Kenyans have affirmed, barua inaendelea, Kenyans have affirmed this with close reference to your open bias and selective justice to powerful individuals allied to William Ruto, while wilting those of the opposition. Put the constituencies of Malava and Mbeere North and Narok Town ward by election of November 27, 2025. Open voter bribery, police and goons violence, voter intimidation and bribery, and you remained silent. Not a word of condemnation came from your commission. The case of and treatment of the Honorable Wanjiku Muhia, Member of Parliament for Kipipiri, recently points to a commission openly biased, where she was condemned without being heard and also denied legal representation. Take the case of the following state officials who have openly been doing campaigns in Olkalou over the last couple of days and bribing voters, yet you have not and cannot dare summon or call them. Yet their actions have been documented by the media and all Kenyans witnessed. Cabinet Secretaries Alice Wahome, William Kabogo, Cabinet Secretary for Information, Davis Chirchir, Rebecca Miano. Principal Secretaries Nixon Korir, Patrick Mariru, Alex Washira, Joseph Mbugwa, Mary Mudoni, and Wangombe. Top government officials Charles Karondo, only Chairman Communication Authority. Why hasn't IEBC questioned or sanctioned these officers? You have bungled your credibility totally, as you have planned to bungle the by-elections. Mr. Chairman, as the people of Olkalou constituency go for by-elections on 16th July 2026, Kenyans are expected of free, fair, credible, and verifiable election. You know the people of Kenya better. They do not accept bungled elections through a process that is not clear, whatever the outcome. Kenyans do not want to go the 2007 way, but you are clearly shaping the path towards that direction. You got a little opportunity, however, to prove yourself and your commission to the people of Kenya and the world that you are redeemable ahead of 10th August 2027 by ensuring that the 16th July 2026 polls in Olkalou are not bungled. It is for this reason that I write to bring to your attention of the meeting of 13th July 2026 at a venue, a time, and participants close to Mr. William Ruto. You are well aware of and its proceedings and reports as such. You are aware that on 13th July 2026 in the meeting in Gilgil, select UDA party officials, government officers, and political leaders met, and the following was tabled and discussed. Sasa Ethekon, chairman wa IEBC, walikutana na viongozi wa UDA, na haya ndo mambo ambayo yalizungumzwa. Number one, it was reported that the party UDA was in touch with you and your commission and have agreed to delay issuance of badges for the DCP and entire opposition candidates. These will, in return, create a vacuum in the inspection of the ballot boxes and inspection of KIMS kits. Number 2, hapo kwa KIMS kit na ballot boxes, anasema, Mr. Chairman, can you confirm that all badges for agents will be issued by the close of business as per the law? So number 2, it was further reported that presiding officers in DCP party strongholds will delay opening of polling stations at 6 a.m. ostensibly to push voting and counting of votes late into the night to give room for mischief under the cover of darkness. Mr. Chairman, can you clear the air that all polling stations will be open at 6 a.m. and the counting of votes starts at 5 p.m.? It was reported that with your concurrence, the presiding officers will on 16th July 2026 allow UDF voters to be issued with double, 2 ballots. Mr. Chairman, can you confirm that the agents of all parties will be allowed to scrutinize in issuance of ballot papers? It was reported in the meeting that, just like it was widely so in Mbeere North, all bribe voters will be allowed to assisted to vote for reasons well known to you and your commission. Mr. Chairman, can you confirm that as per the voting regulations number 72 shall be adhered with, especially the filling form 32 set out of the schedule? Mr. Chairman, the meeting was also informed that in your concurrence, the plainclothes officers will cause mayhem to build a voter separation in selecting polling stations and centers that are DCP party allied. Could you confirm that you have made adequate security measures to ensure no police interference in the election on July 16, 2026 in Olkalou? Just like the Mbeere North case, where a notorious cabinet secretary, Mr. Ruto Kiringa, stormed a polling station and caused mayhem, top state and government officials will storm select polling stations in the same manner and bigger magnitude. So, Mr. Chairman, the honor is on you to stem this out. It was further reported that it is within your knowledge that Kenya Power will cause a deliberate power outage and disruptions in Olkalou to allow the police goons to interfere with and disrupt counting of votes on the evening of 16th July 2026. Mr. Chairman, could you clarify your knowledge and involvement in this matter? It was further discussed that in your concurrence, the plainclothes police would get access into polling stations and centers to interfere with and harass agents. Mr. Chairman, can you confirm to the people of Kenya that no plainclothes officers will be allowed into polling stations and armed persons shall not be allowed either? It was reported in the meeting that, just like it was widely so in Mbeere North, all bribe voters will be allowed to be assisted to vote for. Nadhani hapo nimerudi nyuma kidogo So tuko huku kwingine. Mr. Chairman, can you publicly confirm that all agents will be allowed to inspect the ballots and KIMS kit at the beginning and at the end of the voting to ensure that tally is read 00 at the start, and at the end, KIMS kits read the tally as per issued ballots papers? Further, confirm that you have spoken with the Inspector General of Police that the police will not be biased or intimidate voters, agents, and leaders on or before the day of the by-election. Mr. Chairman, in the same meeting, it was reported that you have assured that only electronic register will be used and that young voters will not get an opportunity to vote today. Through the proceedings of the meeting, you have announced that only the electronic register will be used. Mr. Chairman, note that in 2022, I was personally not identified by the electronic register and manual register used. Take note of the High Court ruling of 4th August 2022 by Presiding Justice Mugure that the IEBC was ordered to order the use of a manual register as a backup to its electronic system. Ilikuwa ni petition 306 of 2022. Okay. The IEBC never challenged this matter, and therefore it is in force. You must comply. Part of the ruling stated, where a voter cannot be identified using biometrics, then the presiding officer shall use a complementary mechanism of alphanumeric search in the presence of agents, and the voter shall fill Form 32A before being issued with the 6 ballot papers. In the same meeting, it was reported that Mr. Kanja would deploy police officers in civilian clothes to interfere with the counting and tallying of votes. True to the deliberations today at Runguri Stadium, Ruringu Stadium, a meeting of 800 police officers who have been deployed to Olkalou was held. Each polling station will have 14 police officers outside and 2 police officers inside the halls, classroom to disrupt counting and tallying of votes and ensure that the UDA candidate is announced as the winner, whether or not he has won. These police officers will later be backed up in the evening by GSU and anti-stock theft unit to deal with possible protests in the possible overturning of the will of the people. There is a lot of disenfranchisement among the electoral officials of the police that the new contingent of 16 police officers per polling stations and additional platoons would destabilize peace, tranquility, and order in Olkalou. In the above meeting, it was equally agreed that armed police officers disguising themselves as UDA agents would be at polling stations. Our agents are firmly instructed to reject any armed agents in polling stations. Mr. Chairman, can you pronounce yourself on the legality and acceptability of armed agents in polling stations? In the same meeting, it was agreed that the IG of police will deploy an additional contingent of officers to suppress election officials, agents, and presiding officers to subvert the will of the people. Mr. Chairman, it was further reported Mr. Kanja would order arrest of all young people allied to opposition, and in particular DCP in all social places today, evening and Wednesday, 15th July 2026, and put them in police custody outside Olkalou. This is to deny them the right to vote. So, Mr. Chairman, you must pronounce yourself on this matter and your involvement. Ya 12, barua ni ndefu sana hii hapa. You are also aware of the following incident that you have not spoken into, nor has the IG of police done so. On 1st July 2026, at the Royal Garden Hotel in Olkalou town, DCP officials were beaten up. Their items, including a mobile phone, taken away, and a record of 8 statements made at Olkalou police station, and no action was taken. On 9th July 2026, the DCP campaign team was attacked by plainclothes police officers who had unmarked vehicles and sprayed them with pepper spray at 2 p.m. On Saturday 11th July 2026, DCP soundtrack was attacked and damaged by hooded gunmen. On 13th July 2026, there was an attempted assassination on Ayala MP Honorable Kanikega. Why haven't you spoken on it? Mr. Chairman, further take note of the influx of undocumented police officers who are outside of the command of Olkalou Sub-County and Nyandarua County. Olkalou Sub-County and Nyandarua County. Could you adequately address yourself to this matter and ask that they leave Olkalou forthwith? Number 15, Be informed that UDA mobilizers are asking voters to take photographs of marked ballot papers in the voting booths in exchange of bribes. Take notice and pronounce yourself as per Section 7, 3E of the Election Offence Act number 37 of 2016. Mr. Chairman, take note of the following. Number one, if the above matters take place, and of which they have begun to unfold, Kenyans will never trust you in commission to run the 2027 general election. Number two, if you pronounce yourself on the above matters and deter the occurrence, that is your golden opportunity to win the trust of the people, and Kenyans will have confidence in you and your commission. Number three, if at all you are not party to the above issues and dismiss them, then it shall be taken as UDA party and government of William Ruto bravado. Tunaendelea. Finally, Mr. Chairman, if you and your commission cannot carry out one ballot election in one constituency, and you can only threaten to postpone or cancel it altogether, how do you convince 55 million Kenyans that on August 10, 2027, you will carry out 6 ballot election in 290 constituencies around Kenya? Barua inaisha kwa kusema the Olkalou by election is an acid test for the IEBC. Kenyans will make the final conclusion that you will either bungle the 2027 election and start preparing to reject the election outcome. My two-mess Olkalou. Kenyans will demand that you resign. You have a golden opportunity to reclaim your image and confirm that you are not part of the scheme. Be advised accordingly. Okay, naona ameattach na Inspector General Douglas Kanja. Mimi nataka niwaambie kitu kuhusu ambacho amezungumza Rigiji. Rigiji amekaa chini akapiga hesabu zake vizuri kabisa kuhusu Olkalou. Akaandika kila kitu ambacho anadhani kinaweza kikatokea. Sawa, hivyo vitu vyote ambavyo vinaweza vikatokea ameviandika chini. Ni mjanja sana Rigiji. Hapo amekuwa mjanja sana. Like amekaa chini akafikiria hizi ballot wanaweza kufanya hivi. Akafikiria hawa mapolisi wanaweza kufanya hivi. Akafikiria kila kitu ambacho wanaweza kufanya. So ameongea mapema. Ndio ikitokea siku ya uchaguzi ama baada ya uchaguzi ripoti zitokee, atasema si niliwaambia. Si I wrote a letter na nikaambia watu kwamba ABC mpaka Z itatokea, na imetokea haijatokea. So ni mjanja sana. Ni kama kujitokeza sasa hivi na kusema kutakuwa na maandamano. Na hiyo maandamano jamani, msitoke kwenye streets, mtakuja kupigwa. Alafu maandamano itokee mtu apigwe. Tayari alijua kabisa kinaweza ikatokea kitu fulani, but nimewaambia mapema. Automatic hii hapa inamsaidia kwa watu kumuona kama mtu ambaye tayari ashajua vitu ambavyo hawa watu wanapanga. Umeniona? So watu wanamtrust sana huyo hapo Rigathi Gachagua. Another thing, amezungumzia mwenyekiti wa tume ambayo inasimamia masuala ya uchaguzi, Mr. Ethekon. So Ethekon kusema kwamba mimi I won't allow anything ambao italeta problem ni kama kwenda against Mr. President William Samoei Ruto. Huyu ni mtu ambaye hawezi kuenda kinyume na anachokitaka William Ruto. Let's be honest. That's what's happening. Unajua uchaguzi wa Olkalou, yani ambaye tu anaweza akataka hiyo uchaguzi iwe nzuri ni William Ruto. Akiamua iwe mbaya pia itakuwa mbaya, na hakuna kitu ambacho Ethekon anaweza kufanya. Ethekon ni mtu ambaye ameitwa kazi tu, amepewa kazi. As much as inatakiwa kuwa independent, but hiyo haiwezi kuwork na taifa letu. And you guys mnajua vizuri kabisa. So kitu ambacho sisi tunaweza tukasema kwamba sasa hapa IEBC ipo independent, haiwezekani. Yani there are some things you don't expect. Sio kama tunaelewana. Yani hutaki kutarajia kwamba bwana uchaguzi utakuwa wa haki na uhuru. What about kama DCP inazidi UDA pale Olkalou? You think Ruto atakaa tu chini afikirie kwamba sasa wacha niwaachie? Hawezi, ni mtu matata. Yani Ruto sio mtu, ni mtu ambaye atakagi kushindwa. Yani in short, mimi kulingana na ninavyomuona, ni mtu matata sana when it comes to vitu kama hivi hapa. nani amchekelee? Rigathi amchekelee kwamba alimshinda? Ruto mmoja akubali? Mimi nasemaga hivyo, watu wengine wanadhani ni mchezo. Wengine wanawaga wanafikiria ni mchezo. Just wait and see. Subiri uone kitu ambacho kitatokea, mtazamaji wangu. So kwa upande wangu I don't think kama anachosema Rigathi kinaweza ikafanyika. Hivyo vitu vingine wanaweza wakajaribu kuzingatia nini? But hapo kwa ethicons sijui kusema jamani, mimi I won't allow anything that is going to bring problems hapa Olkalou. Hapo ni noma. Ethicon hapa Olkalou, hata Sudi anaweza mwambia fanya hivi na anafanya. Ngojeni basi muone. Maybe mtu anaweza kadhani nadanganya. Anyway, before nimalize, kuna taarifa ambayo alitoa Ethicon mwenyewe kama chairman, akazungumza pia IG, Inspector General, na uchaguzi bana, watu wako tayari. So let's wait and see. Watu wengi wanaamini DCP itapata ushindi huko Olkalou. But at the same time, Ruto kwa upande wake na timu yake ya UDA wanaamini hapo hawawezi kuachilia. Yaani ikitokea kabisa kuna kitu kama sijui Olkalou nini, DCP pate ushindi, hiyo inaweza ikawa ni disappointment kubwa sana. So let's wait and see. Wacha tuone ni kitu kipi kitatokea. Msikilize hapa mwanzo mwisho Ethicon, lakini ukimaliza make sure una subscribe kwa ajili ya kuendelea kupata taarifa nyingi na mpya kila wakati. Bye bye.
So we are here today to give the nation updates on the upcoming elections in Olkalou. As you all know, elections in Olkalou will be held on the 16th of July 2026. And it is therefore in that regard that we have come together here with all these institutions that play one role or another to give you updates on what is it that we have done in order to ensure that the elections in Olkalou proceed as scheduled, and that we give the people of Olkalou the opportunity to exercise their democratic right to elect their member of parliament on Thursday, 16th, 2026. The Commission therefore wishes to inform the nation that all preparations for the by-election scheduled for Thursday, the 16th of July, 2026, to fill the position of Member of National Assembly for Olkalou constituency in Nyandarua County are progressing as scheduled. So far, several critical milestones have already been achieved, and these include the completion of procurement and delivery of election materials, both critical and non-critical, to Olkalou, gazettement of all the candidates that have been cleared to run for these elections for Member of Parliament in Olkalou, the setting up of polling stations and the tallying centers where the electors will cast their votes and be counted. We have also completed the servicing and testing and configuration of our technology. As you know, Electoral Commission of Kenya, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, uses technology for both voter identification and, of course, result transmission in the case for presidential elections. So we have reconfigured our technology and it's ready for deployment. We have also received the ballot boxes, the ballot papers for this by-election, which have already been dispatched to our warehouses in Nyandarua County. Yesterday, we completed the training of all the election officials. So our officers are properly trained and they are ready to conduct elections as per the regulations. Of more importance is the issue of the voters register. We have certified the register that will be used in Olkalou. That is the voters register. And this register is currently displayed at every polling station so that the citizens of Olkalou can verify and check if their names are there and if they are eligible to vote in the respective polling stations. As a commission, we continue working with our partners to offer voter education to the voters of Olkalou so that they understand how to exercise their rights. And we continue with stakeholder engagement up to tomorrow, where our team of commissioners will also be in Olkalou to meet with stakeholders, to meet with the candidates and their agents so that we agree on the final rules. Reminds all stakeholders that the campaign has officially ended yesterday on Monday, 13th of July 2026 at 6 p.m. in line with the gazetted election timelines. And therefore, we request that any form of campaigning or engagement of voters after that time has ended is prohibited. And anybody engaged in further campaigns contrary to the laws is committing an electoral offense and is in breach of the Electoral Code of Conduct. And as a result, if we find anybody who is engaging in campaigns beyond the gazetted timeline, that person will face the consequences. In terms of the polling day activities, we wish to remind the people of Olkalou that all the registered voters in Olkalou constituency, they must turn up with their national ID cards that are valid. And for the case of the passport, they must verify and confirm that their passport is valid, it has not expired, because these are the primary documents that will be used to identify each of the eligible voter, each of the voter who is in our digital register. In terms of identification, the actual identification of the voters during that day, from morning when we open the polling stations, once you show up with your ID or your passport that is valid, we shall use the biometric means to identify and authenticate those voters. Biometric means your fingerprints or your facial features, which we have captured in our database. Because the register we are using will be the digital register that is integrated in our KIMS kit. As required by law, we have gazetted the register for Olkalou constituency. And that register, I wish to assure the people of Olkalou and indeed Kenyans that that register is secure. And we certified that register on 5th of June, 2026. So the register is published in the Kenya Gazette. It is a public document. You can access it there. And for those of you who are in Olkalou, the register is already displayed in each of the polling stations where you will be voting. You heard some time back when we conducted the elections in other electoral areas, we saw one individual had taken a picture of their ballot paper after voting. They took pictures of the marked ballots and circulated it on the internet. We wish to remind Kenyans and indeed the voters of Olkalou that please do not take a picture of your ballot paper once you mark it, once you select the person you want to be your member of parliament. This is because the sanctity and the secrecy of the vote requires that you keep it secret. That's why it's very, very important that we facilitate you to vote by way of secret ballot. So it will defeat the purpose if you again make that ballot public. And it is against Section 7 of the Election Offences Act. You shall actually be prosecuted. And if you are found guilty, you will pay a fine a fine of up to 1 million Kenya shillings. So we need to tell Kenyans this matter is very serious. Besides that 1 million Kenya shillings, the offending party can also be imprisoned for a term of not exceeding 3 years for a simple act of taking a picture of your vote, either to show allegiance to whoever you are voting for or for some other benefit. I don't know what motivates people to expose who they voted for. So that is discouraged, it is prohibited, it's against the law, and it has consequences. In terms of accreditation of agents and conducting and the conduct of anybody within the polling stations, and indeed our constituency tallying center, each participating political party or candidate is entitled to appoint one agent at each polling station and one chief agent at the tallying center. And I repeat again, each candidate or political party is allowed to appoint only one agent at each polling station and one chief agent at the tallying center. The tallying center will be at the constituency headquarters. And therefore, we shall not allow anybody roaming around our polling stations purporting to be agents if they are not appointed by the political parties or the candidates themselves, and they must be one. And our office gives them accreditation badges. So anybody who does not possess an accreditation badge should not be seen roaming around our polling stations. The police, the security will take action, and our officials will take action. So in that regard, in the last by-elections we conducted in the country, in Mbeere, Malava, Kasipul, Unguja, Magarini, the commission observed a phenomenon that is very much disturbing. There are some Kenyans, whether politicians or non-politicians, who purport to behave like super agents. And therefore, they come to our polling stations and try to disturb the peace or the peaceful conduct of the elections in those stations. We want to state categorically here that we will not allow anybody, whether it's a senior politician or a leader in this country, who has not been cleared and accredited by IEBC, to come with their security or their supporters to try and disturb the peace at the polling station or even overrun the polling station. We have asked the National Police Service and all security agencies to help us to deal with this phenomenon of super agents, who are mainly some of the senior politicians in this country. So we will not like to see that happening in Olkalou, and should it happen, we will take decisive action against those individuals. We also wish to remind that the public and members of the various political parties and supporters of the respective candidates that we shall not admit any person who is wearing a badge, clothing, or symbol, or any other item signifying support for a political party or candidate. The campaigns, as we have said, the campaign period ended yesterday at 6 p.m. So we do not expect campaigns at our polling stations when citizens are supposed to show up in a neutral environment to vote, cast their vote, and go home peacefully and wait for the results. So anybody who is seen in party colors or paraphernalia should be sent away from our polling stations, which should remain neutral from 6 up to 5 when we close. So anybody who claims that the register has been manipulated is spreading false, misleading, and unsupported rumors. So we urge the citizens to ignore any such persons, be they politicians or activists or any other representative of anybody in this republic. As IEBC, we take the issue of the register seriously, and we make sure that it's only the authentic register that is being used during these elections. That, of course, goes to also the issue of identity cards. We heard through a section of the media, and we have investigated this matter, where certain politicians has urged the citizens of Olkalou not to show up with their IDs or their passports. That is completely misleading, and that matter the Commission is dealing with it decisively. Opening and closing of the polling stations. Ladies and gentlemen, again, as per the law and our regulations, the polling stations open at 6 a.m. and they close at 5 p.m. And therefore, any station that for one reason or another that is justifiable is not open by 6 and there's a delay, we shall compensate that time which is lost and ensure that those people who turn up and who remain at the polling stations as late as 5 p.m. and they are on the queue, they will be granted the opportunity to continue to exercise their right to elect their member of parliament.
As the Inspector General of the National Police Service, mine is a message of reassurance and an affirmation that the people of Olkalou are expected to exercise their democratic rights in a free, fair, peaceful, secure, and credible manner, as guided by our Constitution and the laws of the land. May I now briefly speak specifically about the security preparedness for this by-election. Firstly, we have over 1,000 police officers deployed to ensure that the by-election is adequately covered. Number two, to break it down further, the 114 polling stations in Olkalou have adequately deployed with police officers going by the standard deployment procedures. This means that we have a minimum of 2 police officers per every polling station. Their work shall be to safeguard the voting materials, the voting process itself, while offering adequate security at each and every polling station, ensuring the electoral officials perform their duties well and unhindered. Additionally, there are alert standby teams deployed at all polling stations. They comprise of not less than 14 officers at each and every polling station to ensure steadfast and robust security coverage. Further to this, there are specialized teams that have been deployed to give an overall and unbreachable security ring as follows. I have deployed 4 platoons of the General Service Unit officers. I have deployed 4 platoons of anti-stock theft unit officers. I've also deployed 4 water cannons. Sufficient deployment from the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, DCI, whose mandate shall focus on intelligence gathering, investigations, arrest, and prosecution of any party or individual or individuals involved in any electoral malpractice. Finally, I reiterate that the National Police Service shall remain steadfast during the by-election process, ensuring that a guaranteed safety, security exercise is carried out where the people of Olkalou have a chance to exercise their democratic rights in the best way possible and in an environment of peace and security. And to our young people, my message to you is that do not allow yourselves to be misused by anyone to disrupt the voting process in Olkalou. As I have said, the National Police Service will be there, we will be present, and we will not allow any form of disruption. So anyone who is intending or who is for that direction of interfering with the electoral process, we will not allow. I thank you.